And we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to Is Your Six Covered. Appreciate you showing up. And we'll give it a few minutes for everybody can get the notification that we're even live. So if you're here early, go get yourself a drink, and we'll be rocking and rolling here shortly. All right. Well, North Carolina cooled off tonight. Let me tell you, it is getting a little chilly. Now, a little chilly for some of you guys up north, obviously not. But it is cold right now. It's not even that cold. I'm in the garage freezing my butt off, though, for some reason. Jason Fisher's first up. Very nice. Hema Scrub, how's it going? Everything is going good, my friend. William Nah, I got a chance to check out those cool logos you did. Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. You are not late at all. We haven't even really started yet. Still waiting for X-Ring to show up. Hopefully he shows up pretty soon. Brooks Harvey, appreciate you showing up and appreciate the Patreon deal. I appreciate that very much, sir. Thank you, thank you. Let's see. DW is in the house. Gotta love that DW logo. That's a cool logo. So, William, what's the deal with the cow? I want to know about the cow. Are you a cow farmer or shooting with Uncle Dan, my favorite guitarist on YouTube? What is going on? 45 Auto. They suck. I don't like them. All right, then. Mr. X-Ring is in the house.
How is everyone doing?
Man, doing good. We had some fun tonight we did our chat. Just got done with the chat. And now we're on another chat. So
this is the after chat.
This is the after chat to the Patreon chat. Yeah. I like it because I get a chance to ask questions, talk to everybody, and really get involved and in-depth on stuff. So it's kind of cool. Elfster's Rifle and Reloading. He must be getting ready for bed, listening to the calm radio voice of Is Your Six Covered. Thank you for showing up, Mr. Elfster's Rifle and Reloading. Thank you. Let's see here. Redbird 491. How you doing, Robin? Look at this. We got a party going. We got a party. Ain't no party like an after party. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Nope. Used to be a network engineer and all the router passwords were fine related. Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. Shooting with Uncle Dan. We got to go visit Uncle Dan one of these days. I talked to him on the phone maybe about 3 weeks, a month ago, maybe at the most, talking guitars. And, yeah, we got to get down there and go say hi to them hogs.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Would be fun. For sure. Redbird will be doing better tomorrow. What's better tomorrow? The kids keep thinking tomorrow's going to be some magical day. Have you heard anything, Ray, in North Carolina about parks opening up and stuff like that tomorrow?
Someone mentioned that to me today, that they were going to start doing some partial openings of certain businesses, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I don't either. The kids they're banking on this thing happening. Like they want to get, they want to get out of the house and have some fun. You know any cheap AR uppers? Cheap AR uppers, you got Palmetto State Armory. You got, what do you think, Ray? There's the one called is it not Midway? Is it Midway? What's the one Matt Resist Tyranny talked about? Starts with an M, I think. What's up, Andrew?
No idea.
Do you know any cheap AR built? Any cheap ARs that you would recommend?
I would say other than Palmetto State Armory, I mean, this is the cheapest uppers I know going around.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Creek. I've heard a lot about it, but
that's what it was called. It was Bear Creek. It wasn't M, it was B. Otter, what's going on? Hitting Steel, California. Bradley, how you doing, Bradley? You guys are coming in fast. Look at Red Mouse. Red October the mouse. Don't go cheaper than PSA. Stay clear of the Bear Creek. and radical. I'm in bed just listening. All right, Andrew. You like that calming voice, that calming DJ radio voice? Ray, don't do cheap anything. 45 Auto says. I have to agree.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
When you want your stuff to perform, because placement is important, ain't nobody got time for that. PSA makes solid stuff. How was your day today?
Why is your link broken where you can't send me the link directly through email?
Because my email sucks. I don't know. I did send it through Gmail, because that email worked. But for some reason, when I click on my little mail envelope stamp thing,
Yeah,
nothing's working. I had that problem the other night, actually.
I know. That's why it was like, oh, geez, what's going on with this internet? But yeah, it's crazy because when I logged in this way, I've got a different screen. It makes it really hard to read the comments because I have to flip my screen vertically in order to read the comments. So that's why I keep flipping the camera around. If you're wondering.
Oh, I got you. I did send you a link via email to the X-Ring channel as well. So besides that text I gave you with the thing on it.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, the gas
Had a busy
block
day
is
today.
loose and misaligned. There you go. You just got to fix it if you buy it like that. You had a busy day? Anything you can tell us or no?
Nope.
Sounds good.
Oh, no, other than I did verify for those that are joining, I know there's a lot of interest in long range and everything else. I did have a chance to try some new loads today. And to say I was impressed would be an understatement. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I heard you.
Okay.
We got Jason Fisher asked if you can build an AR with items around the house, or do you need special tools? You want that armorer's tool. It's got some special things, and actually Bad Billy brings it up. Punch, a few punches for some stuff, and should be good to go in a vice block. Bad Billy's on it tonight.
Yeah. You definitely want an armorer's wrench, especially for gas, or not for gas, but for barrel nuts, things like that. But man, I tell you what, they're starting to make it where it's easy, where you don't have to have some of that stuff, but you definitely want something to hold it with.
One big crescent wrench, and you can do the whole thing.
Yeah, one of the best tools, whether you like it or not, they call them Bev blocks, Beverly blocks, something like that. Magpul actually makes one. And, I've always got a couple around, Rick, and those are probably the easiest way to do barrel work and everything else because it goes into the barrel receiver, the barrel extension, and locks in your, basically it simulates a bolt, if you will. And so you can put a lot of proper torque to get that barrel nut tight.
Yeah, it's always good to have the right tool for the right job for sure. Thomas, thanks for showing up. Ramsey Country, Otter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know there's been times.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Oh, good. Now I was going to say Ramsey Country. I know he's a big long range guy. I know I've got Otter in here. So let me go ahead and cut to the chase. So I was very disappointed in the 6mm the last time we went shooting with Rick and Casey. And the reason I was actually influencing that 6mm, the 108 grain ELD. I was actually holding about a tenth more than you two guys that were shooting the 147s, the match. And so it had me rethinking that whole 6mm Creedmoor thing. I do get the fact that it's very soft recoil, very little to no recoil, where you can keep sight and see the trace when you fire it. And that's a huge advantage, especially for follow-up shots. However, I don't want to be playing with the wind that much. I mean, if I was going to do that, I'd just shoot my 5.56, right?
Yeah.
So Val's asking about the glasses. It's because I'm on my phone. So anyway, I've been doing a lot of reading about David Tubbs bullet, the DTAC 115, and then also Berger makes a 115. So I went ahead and spent the money, got the Lapua brass small primer pocket, and then got the Berger 115 VLDs. I went ahead and I loaded up, max load on that. It's really hard to find any data for 115 out of 6mm Creedmoor. And the reason this is worth topic, and some of you guys are probably bored with the 6mm talk, is you're starting to see a lot more manufacturers offering it as a factory loading, just like the Ruger RPR. I think, I'm not sure if Howa does it, but you're starting to see it more commonplace. Not only are you seeing 6.5 Creedmoor, but now you're seeing the option of 6mm Creedmoor. So I went ahead and loaded up those Bergers. And for you guys that don't hand load, if you're going to get into precision rifle shooting, I'm going to recommend you get into hand loading. There's so much more you can do with it as far as building up loads, developing loads, and it's going to be a lot cheaper on you. And you don't need a lot of money to do it. I mean, all you need is a single stage press, a decent digital scale, a few little odds and ends here and there, and that's it. It's not like getting into a progressive reloader. And I would definitely stick with single stage. So anyway, well, I'm trying to read some of these comments so I don't miss any. Hold on. So what I did is I did the Bergers. Now, if you get something that's like an ELD or a VLD match bullet, it's going to have a different taper on the ogive. Okay. The easiest way I can explain this, let me try to hold my phone with my knees, is if you think of a bullet looking like this, you have the tip, or what we call the me-plat, and then you have the ogive that is where you're going to measure, because that's basically where it's going to interface to where the lands and grooves are. It's an exact point, because a me-plat will change, especially if you're using like an open tip match. Well, the Berger, that ogive is located completely differently, because it's a very, very pointed bullet. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I played with little runouts. I used 41.5 grains of H4350, and this is the kicker. I was just trying to get around 2950 feet per second, but with that load, it's pushing 3065. So 3,065 feet per second, shooting a bullet that's 7 grains heavier. So yeah, that Berger might be a ticket. As much of a Hornady guy as I am, I did 6-shot groups today, and the biggest one measured 0.32.
We did a lot of, well, just so you guys out there know, Ray and I did a lot of reloading last night. Mostly me, because Ray was doing some testing and informational kind of things, and not sure if he wanted to load up a bunch of rounds. But great information. And I had a chance to check out those Berger bullets, and we did Hornady against the Hornady A-tip versus the Berger. It was kind of fun testing the ogive and all that stuff. It was kind of neat. It was good information for sure.
Yeah. So Tim says, I thought the Hornady 147 grain 6.5 match rounds were the stuff, and you did not need anything else. And I honestly, I agree with you, Tim. I think that is the fact. I like 147 6.5 Creedmoor, and I don't think you really need anything else. But if you're looking for that little bitty edge and you're wanting to drop down to that 6mm Creedmoor, now remember, you're giving up something there, because now you're getting a much reduced barrel life over a 6.5 Creedmoor by going down to that 6mm Creedmoor. And I try not to get on the latest greatest bandwagon. I mean, I was shooting 243s way back in the days, in the in the early 90s. I was shooting 2, and that's not equal to a 6mm Creedmoor for all intent and purposes. Okay, just like a 6.5 Creedmoor is pretty much a 260. I mean, we were shooting those way back in the day. It's funny how everything kind of comes full circle. But I thought it'd be interesting to share that with you.
How was the recoil impulse compared to the 6.5 with that hot of a load?
It's not that hot of a load. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is it felt to me it almost felt even softer, So, and you might say, well, what are you talking about? Okay, so for anybody that does any competition pistol shooting, okay, whether you're doing USPSA or you're doing three gun or anything else, what you're typically going to see, especially with a lot of three gunners, let's say you're shooting 9mm. You're not shooting a 115 or 124. Rick, what weight do you shoot out of your 9mm?
Oh, out of my 9mm, 124s.
124s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Most
124s.
guys are shoot 147s.
Yeah.
And
Most
the
people
reason, yeah, and the reason is it feels, depending on your load, the recoil impulse feels a lot softer, even though you're shooting a heavier bullet. Okay, you can't always equate. Okay, well, I'm shooting a 165 grain 9mm, which, believe it or not, was kind of commonplace. A lot of guys were doing, but a heavier bullet a lot of times will make the recoil feel much softer because you've got to use less powder usually. So you shooting that 115 out of the rifle, man, it felt softer than me. I think the Berger might be the way to go.
Hey, before we get, because I'm getting way behind here. So DWS, Ray, can you get a semi-auto AR to shoot as good as a bolt gun?
No. I'm not saying you won't run across into a blue herring one of these days, but for the most part, almost every bolt gun is going to outshoot a gas gun just because of less moving parts. You're not dealing with a gas system that's bleeding off, working the action and everything else. That being said, I've got some rifles that shoot lights out, but it's not a bolt gun.
Damn, Ramsey's shooting a half minute at 1,000 yards with the 6SC together. I've been shooting 110 lights out. Nicely done.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot more and more of that. Ramsey's, he's saying that they're just reinventing the wheel, but I know that, and that's what he's saying. But the beauty of it is they're reinventing the wheel at a time where there are more products available. We were very limited. Rick and I were talking about this yesterday, and just last night. There are so many different manufacturers on this long range bandwagon because that's where the market is you're seeing all these options and bullets and powders and things like that you didn't really see before. That's the beauty of it.
Brian, get this stuff. He asks if the ultrasonic cleaner gets rid of copper in the barrel. And
I've never been able. I wouldn't put my barrel into an ultrasonic to get rid of copper. I would definitely use something like a copper remover, like Vortec or something.
That's what I use. That's what Ray uses. And quite a few other people use that. Works good. Run a couple patches through wet, let it sit for a little while, and then just keep doing that till it's all gone. As soon as it stops turning blue, you're done.
And I wonder what Ramsey says. They can hang out to around 600 yards past that bolt gun all day. And in some cases, they're going to be faster on certain stages for engagement if it's all about speed and engaging multiple targets, and you're not limited on engagements per steel. On a lot of times, I mean, they're not going to just hang; they'll actually beat you. But he's absolutely right. You start getting to that magical 600-700 yard range, that's when you're going to see those bolt guys really going 1-to-1 for one on those. But it really just depends on how it's how it's set up.
Dan says you can get sub MOA. What? How far off the lands did you seat your Berger bullets?
Well, that JP that you and I shot the other day, I mean, it'll shoot with the best of bolt guns, right?
It shot well, yeah. It shot really well.
Yeah, you're talking about. I do have a JP gas gun that will, at 100 yards. Now it's nothing; it's 100 yards. It's going to. I mean, you're talking about a call as well. Otter, I do want to answer this question. How far off the lands did you seat your Berger bullets? Believe it or not, I wasn't able to measure exactly where my lands are at because I don't have the casing where I can measure it exactly. I even tried to do the old smoke the bullet trick and everything else, but with that ogive on that burger, by the time it actually touches, it's really, really hard to tell. So I just went ahead and just seated it to SAMI standards for overall length, which is 2.8. And I actually messed around with run out, and the ones that I ran out closer to lands and grooves, those did well, but they didn't do as well as the ones that I just loaded 2.80. So I don't really know. If I had to guess, I've probably got about, no, that chamber's a little different on AI, but yeah, about a 20 thousandths jump or so.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I forgot about which ones were the best because I know you had loaded.
The shorter ones,
Yeah, the shorter ones work better.
yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I was wondering about that. When I talked to you earlier today, or when you showed me the picture of your group, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see the camera here for a while, so I'm just looking at comments.
Here was Ray's group, and you're not going to be able to tell what that is, but it's basically a one hole. I don't know how many shots was that.
Six. That's 6 shots.
Damn, that's awesome. And it was
hold it up there a little longer.
0.3.
So if you guys are seeing the red at the bottom, in order to get a measurement off that shot group, you just take the paper and flip it in half, and then that way that's going to give you 1 inch subtensions, so that when you take the picture, you've got a guidance for reference of measurement. But yeah, that's a 6 shot group, 100 yards, average velocity 3,065 feet per second.
And a standard deviation of 5.9, which is pretty badass.
Like I said, if I don't get them under 6, yeah,
that's good stuff right there, amigo.
Yeah. Hey, Todd makes a great point, because I wish I had $1 for every time someone says they shoot half MOA all day long when they're actually talking about once in a blue moon. And that is so true, Todd. Rick and I talk about this quite a bit. Doing a 3-shot group, I do a lot of 3-shot groups on the videos, and that's not a true group, in my opinion. And I always tell Rick that as well. That was actually going to be a 10-shot group today. Originally, I had gotten groups of 10, and I was going to do 10-shot groups. The problem is I had already got 6 down range. I'd already seen what I needed to see. I needed to go to the longer ones. And for me, it's a matter of, I really don't want to shoot the LeBreau brass in this setting. And as much as time as it takes me to make, what I consider as perfect bullets as I'm going to make, there was really no reason for me to just continue to shoot, because I'm only at 100 yards,
And you got to worry about barrel life too.
Correct. Ramsey says, very true. There's a headhunter match around here, only out to 600 yards, timed. Gas guns kick ass in it. Yeah, and that's like some of these DMR matches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're not limited on round count, and you can just hit, man, the gas gun is really tough to beat. 600 and in.
Especially when your longest stage is 60 seconds. And your shortest stage is 2 seconds.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I know.
I'm having flashbacks of that one DMM. Not even fair for us new guys.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I really did. But then again, I was kind of, I'm not going to say I was on fire, but I was on fire that day.
You're always on fire. Audit everywhere. What's up?
No.
The range. And who else did I see sneak in here? Levi Cummings. There was a couple others. Where are you guys at? Hoot? Otter? I'll get you around. CRRT specialist. Thanks for showing up. And audit. I actually want to try some PRS stuff. Matt wants to try it out. He said it'd be good practice, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely help. Couldn't hurt anyways, that's for sure. Here's a good question.
Catch up on the comments. Sorry, I'm looking.
Since I only have access to
He asked T3X Tactical, Ruger RPR, or the Savage Stealth and 6.5 Creedmoor. Buddy D, I'm going to answer this question. It might hurt some feelings. I don't know, but I have yet to see a bad Tikka T3X. Those things just shoot. They really do. It is more money out of all the ones that you listed, but you're not. It's not talking about a considerable amount of more money. So if you gave me those options right now, and I wanted to start just, hey, I got to buy one of the three. I like all three, and I like them a lot, but I would be inclined to go with the T3X.
Since I only have access to 250 yards close to me, what do I need to focus on practicing to help me when I can go back home to get access to further distances? There's a lot of things you can work on. Depends on what you're trying to do, though. I know positional shooting. Once you start moving positions, it gets a lot tougher. I know that if you make the targets nice and small, your 250 yards can be like 500 yards or even farther, minus the
that's
wind.
true.
I try to. Well, Ray basically makes us. I don't mean it in a mean way, but we always shoot smaller targets, which means, aim small, hit small. So
That's
good.
it. So Brooks, I think this is the same Brooks that has the email going. I read everything in the email, and based on what I could see in there, it's really tough for me to determine what they're kind of saying with those polls. He'll know what I'm talking about. It was, like I said, I read both pages pretty well, and I still in my mind can't quite picture what they're talking about. But now to answer your question, you're wanting to know my opinion on the Masterpiece arms versus the Tikka. So, guys, I really haven't reviewed many Masterpiece arms on the channel, but I've shot a lot of them and had a lot of them at the house here. 3 or 4 different ones, everything from the Curtis Axiom actions to, geez, they use all kinds of stuff. And, Bryson's got one. I've got like 4 other friends that have them, and those really shoot. They shoot well. But I haven't seen one in the price point of the Tikka. So the ones that you about probably don't have any experience with. I will tell you they're very heavy. The ones that I've shot, you're getting into that AI, if you will, to where you get a rifle that's almost close to 20 pounds. I can't say anything bad about Masterpiece. They're all shooters. I haven't seen a bad one yet.
You answered almost exactly identical to what I had said. Brooks had asked me earlier on. We did a chat on Patreon a little bit ago, and I've had a chance to shoot. WTF SoCal's the one, that all carbon fiber one. I think I believe I shot. What the hell is his name? Bryson's, and then
Yep.
I might have shot. I shot KBs at one time back at the when we were at the farm one time. I would say that because they are a lighter, they're just a little more recoil. I told them it'd be better if you're kind of like hunting or have to carry it long distances, but having the heavier rifle is kind of a bonus as well if you don't have to lug it around too much.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Rick. So Bald and Curious right here, he commented, "What's up, Val?" He says, "I guess I need to bring the RPR down south for a showdown against the Tikka." So this is going to bring up a really good point. I always say that it's always the end, not the arrow. There are so many good rifles out there now. You name it, the RPR, the Savage, the Remingtons, the PTRs, all those. And we're talking about rifles that are, less than $2,000, and some of them just over 1,000, or some maybe a little under. It's going to come down to the shooter ultimately. But, RPR against the Tikka, that's going to be whose day it is. I mean, I'm not going to think bad about an RPR. Todd's got one with a Krieger barrel, and that thing shoots lights out. I'm not saying that that won't outshoot the Tikka, because I know that you can do a lot by putting a custom barrel in and everything else. Just talking about out of the box for something that's, because I don't consider that Tikka heavy. In my opinion, it feels rather lightweight. I mean, it's not a Christensen MPR, but it's something that can do a lot of different roles. You might give up a little bit in a match where you need that stability, but what you're going to gain is kind of the best of both worlds. It's not too light to be stable, but it's very accurate right out of the box. Right out of the box, you can shoot great groups with them.
Oh, and you know what? I was thinking that Christensen arms. That's the one that's that all carbon fiber, right? That wasn't a.
It is, and
Yeah.
that Christensen PR, which I've still got in the basement. I love that thing. It is super lightweight. You're talking about a rifle that's a little over 6 pounds without glass, and it fits well. It's got a lot of adjustability to it. They have, I think it's, is it a half MOA guarantee? I'm not sure. That rifle does shoot lights out. However, it is very light and it jumps around on you. Now you cross the other end where, okay, I've got accuracy, but I don't have the stable platform because every time you fire it, it jumps off of the legs like it's a kangaroo. And it takes another second and a half for it to settle down for you to actually see the target again. And by that time, you've missed the splash and everything. Great rifle if you had to do a lot of rucking or, mountain hunting or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. It is a light package. Ramsey Country is. I love this answer. I'd shoot a 22 long rifle. It'll help you with wing calls. Us doing that exact thing, doing some training. It was well executed stage, basically put on by Ray, and we ran that course, a few different courses, a few times, and having to do holdovers on the same reticle, but especially with the 22 long rifle, you're getting into some really weird stuff on your scope. It was really cool, like invaluable training. It was great training for sure. So 22 long rifles, in my opinion, a very inexpensive way to do really good training. I don't remember who had asked that original question.
And then Doug asked about the Bergara HMR. Okay, so Bergara popped on the scene pretty heavy a few years ago when a lot of people didn't know what Bergara was, and I had to shoot him at one of these conferences, and I was pretty impressed with him. A buddy of mine actually shoots that exact rifle, the Bergara HMR, in the 6.5 Creedmoor. He swears by that thing. Now, this is also a same guy that shoots a Masterpiece Arms, okay? Because he likes that Bergara HMR so much, and it doesn't weigh as much as Christensen did, he just sold that 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago, Rick? You know who I'm talking about. But anyway, he sold it because he said after the Bushnell Elite, he really didn't see the advantage that the MPA was going to give him over shooting something that was a third of the cost, at least half the cost, and she could do everything you wanted to do with it.
Very true. Elster says a good point here too about good bipod, good rear bag, quality rifle, good reloads, 5 minutes. With simple training, cheek weld, eye box, trigger control, you can make any knob shoot well.
Absolutely. Sub-MOA, absolutely.
I've seen you do that many times.
Yeah, I mean, how many times? See, and that's the thing is, you guys don't really see me outside of the channel, but Rick, he does. The way we interact with people and everything else. When we go to the range, and we don't try to be know-it-alls, we mind our own business. We don't really do much other than get our business done, and that's about it. Hold on, just a second. Sorry, but people are pretty intrigued with. Dog got into the napkins. I don't want to look at napkins out in the yard all day. So they'll come over and they'll talk to you, and we're very, very approachable, I guess. And so it does. And this is how many times does this happen, Rick? Well, we'll say, hey, hop down on a rifle, take a shot at 700 yards, you can hit it. And they're like, man, I've never shot past 100 yards.
Yeah.
And with 2 or 3 shots, they're banging steels at 600 and 700 yards. So just like Todd said, as long as you have all of the basics and the fundamentals down, I mean, it doesn't. Rick, that girl was what, 12 years old? Not my daughter, but a girl that didn't even do any long range shooting, and she started hitting targets at 700 and what was it, second shot?
Yeah, well, remember the Silver Fox? Silver Fox shot your rifle?
Yeah, that's right.
700 yards. I don't remember if it was 2 for 2 or not, but that was pretty dang awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the cool part of it. So Todd, you're absolutely right. I mean, as long as you can get them the basics and they're not sitting there flinching or anything else, um, yeah, it's pretty easy to get somebody to where they can get in the long range pretty easily and hit long range targets, even 1,000 yards. But ultimately, like he follows up with, you can only shoot as well as your rifle and ammo. If like I said, I've always said this: 1 minute or better. That's all that matters. Yeah, I won't own a rifle that won't hold a minute. Rick knows me well enough for that. If I sell
It
something,
won't last very long at your house.
it won't last long. Yeah, it's gonna be a sub MOA rifle or it's gone. Period.
Yeah, and a pistol. Matter of fact, if it doesn't shoot well,
Yeah,
it's gone.
yeah. Which
Go ahead.
Sheball, you asked about the Christensen with the stainless barrel to help with the jumping. Yeah, a little bit more weight would definitely help. Now that being said, now I'm not, I have no connection with Christensen in any way, shape, or form. I do not like their ARs. I'm going to go ahead and let that be known. I'll say it. Ordered two of their really, really nice ARs. Upon receiving them, called the company, was not happy with the quality of certain things and sent them back, and they had to be taken back. So, yeah, they're bolt guns. Never had any issues. I don't like their AR offerings.
Let's see. How about hanging a sandbag from the bottom of the handguard? Think that'd help?
Yeah, you can also drop a big yada, but that'll help. But you're trying to fix something that I don't know. I'm not going to try to make something work that I wasn't designed for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to give up something somewhere. I mean, I just want to start off with a decent one from the get go.
Just get a damn Tika already.
There you go.
No, I love that freaking rifle I have. Let's see. Didn't think of that option. I have several 22 long rifles, but my only bolt action 22 has a 16-inch barrel. It don't matter, really. If it shoots accurately, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be going out to crazy distances anyways. And if you're trying to practice holdovers, which is, if you can get a holdover down, you're going to save so much time not having to dial, which is what I'm trying to learn right now.
Oh, man, look at Todd's comment. Okay, man, we feel so alike on this. Exactly right. If I can't hold one MRA or less after some load development, when he says some load development, for me, it's as minimal as can be. It's gone, gone, gone. You can usually tell if a rifle is going to be stubborn after 100 rounds. For me, it's about 50 rounds. If I've put 50 rounds and I've started to do, some onesies and twosies, some hand loads, and I have some issues, it's gone. But what I'm seeing is I see a lot less of those rifles this day and age than I used to back in the day. Back in the day, it was like, oh, that's one of those keepers right there. It's like, oh, yeah, don't get rid of that one. And this was back in the days of the old Remington 700s. And it's like, man, it's the same rifle. Well, this must be a Monday gun. That's a Wednesday gun,
Brooke says, done. Tika it is. You are going to love that rifle.
I would say so. Like I said, I haven't seen a bad one yet. Levi says his AR-10 did not shoot some of them away for the first 20 to 25 rounds. And that's not uncommon. It really isn't. That's why I was like, after about 100 rounds, he knows. For me, it's somewhere around 50. But you're going to usually notice somewhere within that first 50 or first 100 whether or not it's going to work or not.
Honestly,
I forgot to. You remember the guys that we shot with last time? You'll recall what I'm talking or who I'm talking about. The very last. Yes. He contacted me today, and he just bought him a 6.5 Creedmoor, and he wants to get up with us because he said he has been bitten by the bug after being out there at the range that day, hanging out with us and everything. He'll probably watch this chat. He said he just couldn't stand it, just bought a new rifle, new glass, and wants to meet up with us. He said he hadn't even had a chance to scope on it yet.
Was it the one guy from Florida?
Army guy.
Okay. That's the same guy then. The guy that stayed the longest, talked the longest too?
Yes, yes. He sent me an
Okay, yeah.
email and says
I
he's been
thought
following.
he used to live in Florida doing a certain job.
Yes, that's that same
Okay.
guy.
Okay, same guy. Got it. Yeah, 45 Auto says, I don't
But
care if
that's
the gun
awesome.
sub MOA as long as it has the IY6C paint job. Man, I tell you what, I love that rifle. When we're sitting there and it's in the woods or we're looking at it and it's into the brush or something, I'm like, damn, that thing is good looking. Love it. I'll have to start doing some custom paint jobs. Have to help 45 Auto out. Good question for
Yeah.
Ray. Have you had some
Yeah.
chrome light barrels? There you go, Ray.
Not usually, but now that you've mentioned it, I actually had an LMT, we'll call it modular weapon system, because I've had a lot of experience with that platform, not only in large frame, but also small frame. I did have one of those that took a while to come in. So yeah, and then man, I don't want to say used to be. I like LMT. Lewis Machine Tool makes some great stuff. There was an LMT that I carried for years that, I mean, I trusted my life to for years. And it was a great weapon system. But when I went to sell it for no other reason than I guess I was just tired of it. The guy came over and he was demoing the rifle, and the on the end where you have your regulator, where your adjustable gas system is, they actually peened that. Okay. It became unpeened somehow. Fortunately, I had some spare parts. I had another one of the exact same caps on it. So what actually holds the piston in. It came off. That rendered that gun 100% useless. You could not do anything with it other than load a round, fire it, load a round, fire it. I called LMT. LMT said they'd send me a new one out. So good on them. Great customer service. But that just made me kind of realize is I was only a little peen away from a rifle not working. And that really, that soured me a little bit on that. That just, I never even looked at it or saw that would ever be an issue. But when that came out, that was it, done.
It was gone. So
It was
conservative
gone.
sniper on those were brand new Starline brass, and I did full length size them just because they haven't been shot yet, just to make sure that they'll fit in the chamber well. And other than that, now once I shoot them, I don't know. I'm going back and forth on this whole neck sizing deal because I've been getting great accurate rounds, so I don't know which direction I want to go. So that's that question there.
Yeah, that might be a good question. Todd, I mean, he's on the chat tonight. Why don't you just ask him directly? I mean, we already know it. Todd, I'll go ahead and I'll preface all of this.
Oh, he's thinking about it. Let me check with my woman, he says. Let me check with my woman. That makes sense. Don't want to get in trouble. I know how that works.
I'm not seeing.
Do you have a your favorite factory load for the SIG?
A 45.
This question?
I haven't determined one yet. There's some other powders I want to try before I say what it is, because I don't have a favorite one yet. I've only really been playing with one, trying to get it developed. But I did just get some new brass in today. Big shout out to Defender Ammunition. They were able to get me some pretty quickly, and so I've got a big box of brass in there waiting on me.
I'm zooming in on 45 Auto's picture because that bullet looks like a 9mm to me.
I can't tell. It almost looks like a 45 as fat as the base is, or 40. Length.
Well, yeah, it probably is a 45 Auto.
Ratio.
I was like trying to zoom in, but I couldn't tell. It must be a 45. It only makes sense. Dun, 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 dun.
It all makes sense now. Called it blue.
What? What the hell? You busting me up right now?
No. Well, I'm just saying you're zooming in on the bullet, and his handle is 45 auto.
I know, but that's why I wanted to go. Man, that looks like a 9mm. We'll never know. We'll never know. Let's see. What's up, Otter? I watched King of the 2 Miles, probably like 10 shows today. Getting me the itch for 2-mile shots. Man, that looks fun. What's up, Tobacco Row? Just happened to be studying some gun stuff today. Awesome, man. That is awesome. That don't mean much. I'm not a cow. I tried to read the head stamp. It's just too damn small. I can't see it. I'm trying. Let's see. If we missed any questions, let us know. Yeah, I'd put out a video.
Rick, and we'll let Todd answer this as well. I've had a lot of people contact me about wanting to get into reloading. And the question that I've seen on more than occasion is, do you buy a kit that has all the stuff, like maybe like the RCBS, the Master Quantity lock and load kit? Do you buy that kit, or is it better just to go ahead and buy the end parts? I know my answer, and I explain it to them, but what is your take on that?
Repeat the question, Ray. I was busy doing administrative skills here. Are you talking about a kit for what? The kit like I have over here, or like build your own kit, or buy your own kit like the AI?
Let's say you've never been reloading in your life, and you want to reload for precision rifle. Forget your Dillon in the background there. Is it better to go to, Sportsman's Warehouse down here and pay whatever it is, $300-400 for your starter kit, single stage starter kit, or do you just buy all the pieces individually?
If you have an amount, you have as much money as you want, kind of thing. A lot of people buy the starter kits because they're a lot cheaper. They want to just see if they're even interested in it. And like Lee makes a really cheap one. Actually, I got one right here. So like this kit here, right, is a Lee Classic turret press, I think is what it's called. 4-stage basic deal. Super cheap for the guy that just wants to build pistols. Pistol rounds, maybe some rifle rounds, whatever the case is. But they don't even know if they want to reload, right? They don't have a friend. Maybe they just looked on YouTube and said, man, I want to try to figure this out. That way is a lot cheaper, but you're going to end up with a bunch of stuff you don't use anymore once you go the other way. The other way is there's machines that case trim, there's machines that swedge, there's machines that do this and that, and you can end up with a lot of crap. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up with better stuff. So if you're already a reloader and you want to spend some money, I would not buy the kit. I would buy exactly what I need for item A and B and C. That way you don't have to be more of a less buy once, cry once thing. There's my answer. If a girl in Walmart parking lot with her children has a crazy guy that starts running at her, at how many feet does she shoot the guy? And how many feet does she shoot the guy? Hopefully she shoots the guy before he gets there, but the 21-foot rule, right? So that would be the answer. Depends on how fast her draw is, I guess. How many feet does she shoot the guy? I guess it depends on if he had a knife or something in his hand too. I don't know. Or he was an overly large male and she was a tiny petite person. I think would make it even easier of a good shoot. So, AKA the devil, how you doing? Let's see. Your statement, if you check the latest videos, they are switching to 6mm Creedmoor. I am not switching. Ray is switching. Do a little studying first. What's up, Thomas? Yeah, studying, if that's part of that question. Definitely get some information before you go out and buy anything. 7 yards, says Jerry Parker. Murder killer wasp. Can we shoot one at 700 yard Drake? I haven't seen how big these wasps are, but if they're pretty big, maybe possible. If they're this big at 700 yards, I can shoot them. I bought the Hornady single stage kit years ago, but it was for IDPA and cowboy action, not precision rifle. Yeah, if you're going to load for precision rifle, I would definitely go with something that's single stage, like this one right here. That's a Redding. RCBS makes great ones as well. If you're trying to make ammo for pistol, that Lee turret press is good because it has 4 stations, and every time you pull the handle, so you can kind of, it's more progressive. It's still really, in my mind, a single stage because you got to feed it bullets and you got to feed it new brass. But thoughts on the Georgia shooting? Honestly, Jason, I don't even know about the Georgia shooting. I have turned off a lot of news stuff right now.
Yeah, I just came back. Sorry, I had to go away for a minute, but Plus Five's in the house. Thanks for commenting in the chat. I haven't responded to your comments yet, but thank you for responding to those. And I missed most of the questions, trying to catch up or the answers. But for me, I always recommend going individual pieces. I think there's a lot of pieces you're not going to use, or if you get them, they're not pieces that I would consider. I mean, they will get your feet wet, but if you're really going to get into precision loading, there's certain things you don't need, or there's better things out there as options. That's my answer for it. Yeah, it might cost you a little bit more, and you won't have everything initially, but do a little bit of research. My thing is spend a little bit more money on a scale. I think Rick has seen that it does make a difference. I don't know, Rick, would you agree or disagree? I'm not saying spend stupid money, but some of these these digital scales, they're off a lot more than you think.
Well, we kind of did. Let's see. I think it was tested 3 different scales, and you'd be surprised at some of the loads that it drops. I think the important thing is it makes such precision ammo, at least at Ray's house, is a diamond scale, because it honestly, every time you put 1 granule on it, it changes in weight. And I mean 1 little tiny granule.
Kernel.
So that's
1 kernel.
Yeah, kernel, granule, whatever you want to call it. What's up, Plus Five? So it's so accurate. So you can actually really make standard deviation a single digit number easy.
Digits all the time. It's a gift.
Yeah. But you got to spend the time. You got to sit there with the thing. You know, when you guys saw me, I had it on fast forward or whatever it's called, where it's just taking pictures but making it a video. I'm sitting there and I'm taking out individual grains, and just to try to get that perfect, for me, 41 grains is what I'm hunting for.
Guys, there's nothing more frustrating to me, period, than shooting a target and I hit the target dead center, and then the very next round that I shoot, and let's say I'm using boxed factory ammo, the next shot is a foot low due to velocity, shooting it through a chronograph while you're shooting this long range target, and you're seeing, because your standard deviations and you're getting this vertical stringing because of velocity changes in your ammunition. That is a thing of the past. Yeah, you're going to get left and right because of wind, but you're not going to get that vertical stringing because of velocity fluctuations. So for me, a big thing is, and you still have to do all the other stuff right. You can't have a case that's super long that needs to be trimmed and have one that's really short and expect the neck tension is exactly right. You're going to get some vertical, you're going to get some velocity fluctuations there as well. I mean, it's all about neck tension and everything else, but doing all of that in conjunction with a good scale makes a huge difference. And I know Todd's a huge fan of the RCBS Chargemaster. I think he has 2 of them or 3 of them.
The 120i. And that is the one. If I had the money to buy any scale right now, I could buy. Money endless. That AD, I can't remember what that model is. It's basically raised diamond scale with a trickler on top. It is freaking amazing. Like it is. I don't know if there's anything better out there. Now I
Actually,
will say,
Rick,
go ahead.
there's something that my diamond scale does that you don't realize. I just don't want to spend the money because I just don't want to spend the money. I actually have a port in the back of that will connect to a box that will do an auto trickler and trickle the number out to what you're looking for.
Oh man.
But you're talking about spending a lot more money for that, and you have to customize this box. It's pretty easy to do, but yeah, you can get a trickler that will basically trickle the powder into the to the scale itself.
Night Tobacco Row, thanks for showing up. That's pretty awesome. But that AD is freaking badass. Now I will say, when I did the testing of the one that Ray has and the one that he gave me, which was the Gen 6 by Lyman, I was actually getting more consistent with the Lyman than I was the Redding. What is it, 1500 Chargemaster? Or is it 1200? Whatever the hell it is. Yeah, what's the one you have? RCBS. That's what it's, Chargemaster, right?
Okay. So, for example, last night when we were loading up and I was loading up these test loads for the 6mm Creedmoor, I was trying to dial in 41.5 grains, 41.5 on the auto trickler, and I was getting readings. The lowest I was getting was about 21.4, but remember, we're trying to hit 21.5 or 41.5. Sorry, I got readings up to 41.85 on that RCBS Chargemaster. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, there's this insert now that you can put in there that'll make it drop even faster. Well, we did that, and number one, it took long for it to do what it needs to do, and now you're waiting on it, but also it's still off. So that's the problem.
Yeah, we tried that pin thing. Actually, Elfster, he does that on his, and he gets good results. We tried that on Ray's, and it was a lot slower, which is fine, but it was still not dropping accurately.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't have a diamond scale, you don't know. You don't know this. So you punch in 41.0 grains, right? And it bzzz, and then it slows down. Bzzz, you know, and it's dropping to get 41 grains. It's usually always, well, good majority of the time, a hair under, because I think they don't want, in case you're loading something to its like full capacity, and they don't want it to be over. But there's still times when it's over like 2/10. Oh no, it'd be 41.2 basically, which is completely different than 41.0 when you're talking powders, I guess. Buddy D's in the house. Brandon Butler, Nick Knox from Korea is in the house. Yeah, Elster says that.
Hey, Otter asked. Yeah, Otter says, he asked again, 300 PRC, 6.5 PRC. Is there a 6mm PRC? The 6.5 PRC I'm aware of. I've got a proof that I've got to get out here. Like I said, that thing got set up and it was put away. I haven't even had a chance to take that thing out to the long
he locking up
range.
You getting Netflix?
Build one up, but there were.
Night, buddy.
Dang it.
I don't know if she is or not.
Yeah, my service is bad tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if it was me or you. I wasn't having.
It's probably me
earlier, but my son was playing Xbox or some crap on the thing. Didn't get it from the link, Levi.
Best affordable
wife bought an AD 120i for my birthday. She knocked. Dang, that's awesome. Ramsey, tell your wife she is awesome. All right, go ahead, Ray.
No, I mean that was it. Someone keeps asking about this Georgia shooting. I'm not sure which one they're talking about. I've been in the office like heavy the last couple of days. I haven't had any chance to look at anything what's going on. I haven't heard of this Georgia shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on it as well. You have to play with the settings with the pin mod. Charge Master is just that, a Charge Master. It's good for 250, 350. It's not a $1,000 ADI 120i with a V3 kit. That sounds like a freaking Tika. Tika TAC 3A1 hut hike. Now we got a AD 120i V3.
That sounds like a W or an Audi. An AD 120i.
Yeah, it does, huh? What do you drive? I drive an AD 120i with turbo. Tobacco Row, give us your question, senor. I have a buddy that has a 2200 SIG. I've never shot it though. I don't know. Let's see, Rick, at how many feet in the parking lot can the girl brandish her weapon? I don't. This is a tough question. So the question was, there was a crazy guy running at a lady in the shopping parking lot.
No, hold on a second. Hold on, there's got to be more information than that. You can't say crazy guy. What were his actions leading up to this event that would deem him being crazy? What's
in his hand?
She feel?
Yeah, what's in his hand as well? There was shooting that happened in February, but crappy cell phone video was just released, and now everyone is talking about it. All right, yeah, I haven't seen that yet, Tim. Thanks, though, for the info. Black guy shot while jogging, but unarmed shooter said thought he was a robber or something like that. Oh, geez. That sounds like a race war one right there. 21 feet is too close. She has not enough time. 21 feet is basically the test they give you as an officer. I don't even know if it's so much an officer. It's just always been a number that if a guy has a knife, can he get you within 21 feet before you can draw your firearm and basically stop the threat? And I think as an officer, I think what they're saying is basically when those people are within that 21 feet of distance, you really got to be on your game because you don't have any time to. Because like a trained professional knife guy, you could be done. You could be done quickly before you could even draw the weapon. Just from what I've heard. But there is tests that you do, especially in like simulation video gun shooting things. They'll have a guy run at you, and you have to draw from a holster and shoot. We actually had those at our law enforcement agency. I'd go to their shooting range, their indoor shooting range, and run through some of those scenarios. It was fun. The video showed a black man running at a slow pace toward a white truck that is stopped in the middle of a country road. +5. I saw it around $300 at Christmas. You get it figured out, Mr. Ray?
What's that? Changing the tank.
You getting the heater?
Yeah, it went out on me. I was like, dang, it's getting a little chilly out here.
Yeah. Colin Noir made a video about it. I don't know how to say his name correctly, but that's how I say it. Yeah, I'm not sure, Jason, on that. I don't know. I don't know what the good answer is. I don't know what the correct answer is. But just because somebody's running at you doesn't mean you get to shoot him.
That's exactly right.
A salute report. What's up, Otter?
Okay, so I'm not going to say that you have to spend big money all the time, but there is definitely a big difference between laser rangefinders, but they all have limitations as well. I will tell you, during Bushnell, there were a few folks that either way to say this. I had some spare Leicas that I loaned out for that match because there were at least two groups of guys that had the Vortex. One was a Ranger, one was something else. Whatever you see on a number for a rangefinder, let's say it's supposed to give you out to 1,500 yards. Okay, that's under the best conditions. And what I mean is you've got a nice clear day, you've got a good big target like the side of a truck or something, but there are big limitations in rangefinders. I've got a set of loopholes that I always loan those out at matches, for guys that don't have them or whatever. But a lot of times you can't get a number. I know even on those loopholes, as good as they are, they typically won't pass 500-600-ish yards if you're trying to hit a little small steel. Some of the best rangefinders I've used have been the Leicas. I've got the binos, I've got a bunch of the handhelds, or a couple of the handhelds, and they seem to work really, really well. However, if you've got a little overcast day with a little bit of fog, I don't care what you've got, it's not going to cut through that fog. It's going to refract off of the droplets in the air, and you won't get a reading on it. So I can't go any further than that, or other than they don't always work.
Would you say that you can almost go by half of what it says range wise? Like if it says 50, like 1,400 feet, it's probably good to 700 without an issue.
You know what? Just to generalize the statement, I would say that's a good rule of thumb. I really do. It depends on what you're trying to do with it, So that being said, even those Leicas, as good as they are, those HDBs, those things are not cheap. Those range-finding binos.
Yeah, they're
when I was out scouting that land with Casey 2 weeks ago, there was a shot that it was a little over 3,000 yards.
Keep talking a little bit.
What's that? And I could not get it to range or hit anything beyond about 2,000, 2,100 yards. It just would not reflect off of it. It was a good, clear, sunny day. So, yeah, and see, Jerry Parker says mill dot it. Yeah, I mean, you can do that if you know something. But like I said, just to go out there and throw a rangefinder up to find out how far it is from here to that bridge, I couldn't even reflect off the bridge, and it was right at 3,000, and that's supposed to be how far it's supposed to go. William says he wants the SIG BDX rangefinder and scope combo. It's the money that stops me. Yeah, I can see that. When SIG came out with their Kilo, I mean, everybody was running that thing. I don't see a lot of them now. I don't know for what reason, but I've never had a chance to play around with those, so I don't know. But I hear good things about them. Let's see. I'm trying to read through this. PSA Dagger supposed to be dropping next week or so. Yeah, I know the price point of that thing's supposed to be really, really attractive. It's supposed to be like $300 to take on a polymer pistol. Let me see here. Just keep watching through.
Thanks for holding down the fort while I dropped off some of this. I'm back, Jack.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go through the comments. That's all.
SIG Kilo 3000. Brandon Butler.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that run that back in the day, but like I said, I don't see a whole lot of them now. Ramsey says you're going to have to get the Kilo 2400 to link it to a Kestrel if you're going to go that route.
Isn't that what KB's got? He's got something that links with the Kestrel. We were going to use that at that next match. I can't remember what he was talking about, though. He has something that links with the Kestrel. Oh, Jackson. Jackson just got screwed. PA got screwed, actually. No shooting in PA until June 4th. Man, there's no way I could even live without shooting. Rodder 204's here. About time you show up, my friend. Now we can start the show. I hit a power plant cooling tower at 2,400 yards with a SIG 2200. That's cool. 2,400 yards. Damn, that's good. Well, that was probably on a perfect day, though, right, Ramsey? Kilo 3000 link to Kestrel also. Yeah, could you finish your thoughts on the 6mm PRC?
I know nothing about it. I didn't even know there was a 6mm PRC.
There you go. Armament and axes. Elster's rifles and reloading. Yep, and they did it better than Glock. You missed that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe Ramsey can chime in on this because, like I said, you can read guys' comments and talking to them through the chat, so you can tell who's done this a lot or shot a lot of long range. But I honestly cannot keep up with all the crazy cartridges that people are shooting now. Everything from, you got the 6GT, the 6 Dasher, the 6BR, 6XC, 6mm Creedmoor. I mean, it's like a new cartridge is getting invented every day. It's like even what's the guy that did the DMM match, Cameron? He came up with his own cartridge, 6 Cheetah or something like that. I mean, I can't keep up with them all. And the thing is, I've never been one to chase the latest greatest. I like to go on tried and true things, and it took me forever to get away from the 308 to go to the 6.5. 6.5 ran its course for me really well, but I also don't want to lose to guys. Not saying that I would lose to them, but I don't want to lose to guys just based on the fact that, okay, well, he's just still shooting that 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's going to take him a little longer to get on targets. Just for recovery time, when I see so many 6mm out there, I mean, it's just taken on the competition scene by a storm. And you might say, well, why? Well, let's just say you're a mediocre pillar, and you're taking on Rick, and Rick has to shoot his 40 cal pistol, and both of you are at 10 yards on little steels, and you get to shoot a 22, like a 22, whatever, a 22-45 light, but he has to shoot full power 40 cal. Now that might be a bit of a stretch on the power difference there, but even a mediocre shooter is going to do well because he has zero recoil to deal with, recovery time, and he's going to be able to shoot rather quickly, especially if there's not a limit on rounds. That's the best analogies that I can come up with. I wouldn't want to take on somebody up against a plate rack that was a pretty decent shooter if all he had to shoot was a 22 and I had to shoot a 357 Magnum on it, whatever the case is. That's the best analogy I can come up with.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If you can manage the recoil faster and get on the next target quicker, you're gonna win.
Yeah, and see, it's not so much about just sheer recoil management. I mean, that has a lot to do with it, but then there's some benefits of that velocity too. Just being able to, I mean, it's all part of that recoil management, but when you can actually fire, see your trace, see the impact, you can move on. Ever hear a hit conference? I mean, before you ever, you're not even have to wait on impact. You've already seen it, and you're gone, and you're already moving to the next target.
True.
Anyway.
And another reason why
I digress.
You have a good reticle. A good scope, I should say. I actually called Vortex today, right? I was trying
what?
I was trying to get to see if I could send in my scopes and have them change the reticle in them.
What'd they say?
No, your best bet is to sell it and buy a different one.
And buy it. You were looking at the Trimmer 3, right? Or the new Trimmer 4 just came out, I think.
No, I want the same that you have because I want to train with the scope so that when October shows up, it's second nature like the other one.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, I shot a lot of 30-06, especially a Garand growing up. for competition, armament and axes. It's a very versatile cartridge. I mean, everything from loading really light bullets to really heavy bullets. You know, it's a 30 cal. I mean, how do you go wrong with that? But it does kick. You know, depending on the platform that it's in. You know, I like a 30-06. I still have it in a couple Garands and 03s, but yeah, you're just not going to see it in competition or anything like that. I mean, you know, hunting and competition are two totally different things. 30-06, great hunting cartridge, but for competition, I'm not going to use it.
Do you think you can get your hands on a big bore for shooting 2 miles? I think we ought to do that freaking 2 mile king of the, what is it called? 2 mile king of the 2 mile. Is that what it's called?
Well, yeah. See, Ramsey asked a really legitimate question here. Jackson, what do you want to do with that 300 PRC? Shoot a mile? ? And he's absolutely right. You guys have heard me say this before. You know, I remember when SoCal was looking at the 300 PRC and building one up. And I have a guy out, and I don't know if he's watching right now, but he lives in Phoenix. And everything he's got's like ShyTac or larger. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I just want something to shoot with. Well, I don't want to spend $5 a round. So, I mean, even 338, you know, I've sold all my 308s, not 308s, my 338 Lapuas, my 50 cals. I sold all of them because around here, if all I'm going to do is bang a piece of steel at a mile, I can get that done with the 6.5 Creedmoor. 147, hand load, you're not going to have any problem hitting that mile target. You'll do it in a couple shots more than likely if you've got a good sighter or a good spotter for you. So as far as the big bore stuff, I don't really know anyone. I mean, the last 338 I sold to someone that I know. I could probably use it, but that's not the best cartridge. I mean, you can do it, but that's not going to be the best cartridge for that. So I don't know if I'm ever going to get into any like 2 mile shooting, because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to want to buy the right thing. And
man,
yeah.
I watched so many of those shows today. It was like, oh, that looks like fun. I want to sign up and compete.
So Buddy D hit it on the head. King of 2 mile. They refer to the 338 Lapua as a small caliber.
Yes,
and
they do.
Exactly. So for me, it was like, you know, there's no place that allows 338 around here, because they say it damages the steel too much. 50, you know, most of them aren't, and most of them are not accurate. Yeah. So there you go. That's why I got out of it.
There was quite a few 50s on there. Obviously, they were accurized, but it was so fun. If somebody was on here that like did that stuff, I'd totally go out there and freaking check it out. 375 ShyTac.
So William says, would a lower weight bullet like a 6.5 120 grain have similar recoil to a 6mm, but barrel life of a 6.5? Would the accuracy be worse? No, that'd probably be a good option. The only problem I would see there is for extreme long range, that 120 grain bullet could be a little too light. It'll make the distance, but it could be deflected by wind. So, you know, you try to get everything in your favor, the bullet weight, the velocity, all that. And guys, the only reason, and let me preface this, the only on this little rabbit hole with 6mm Creedmoor is because I do own the AI that I can switch a barrel out in 1 minute. Oh, Rick, in a minute or less. Okay. It's about a minute. So last night, Rick was over at the house and I took the barrel off of the AI. I mean, completely took it out. And Rick was like, dude, you just took your barrel? And I said, yeah, I ran a board. Down it.
There you go.
Dust and to get that out.
Wait, say it again, Ray. You missed
Did I lose you?
No, you're good now. Basically, he took his barrel out, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just cleaning it."
Yeah. Well, there was some debris in there, and I don't take it out every time, but when I ran the bore scope, I could see some debris inside of the chamber area. So not the actual chamber, but leading up to it. So I went ahead and took the barrel off, cleaned all of that, cleaned inside of the action and everything else because it's wide open. I put the barrel on, torqued it. Did you know my first shot today was less than a 1/4 inch of away from a 3/4 inch pasty? That's how repeatable that is. So with that being said, if I burn out this 6.5 barrel and let's say I do it prematurely and it's gone in 3 months, guess what? In 1 minute, I can spin up that 6.5 Creedmoor barrel, and that 6.5 Creedmoor from the last time I checked it was only off 1 inch. So that's the only reason. But if I had something I had to take to a gunsmith or an armorer to cut and headspace and do all this other stuff with, I wouldn't be going down the 6mm road right now.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Oh, it makes great sense. That does make sense to what William's saying, though, because he's basically he's trying to bring the bullet lighter, more velocity, still fight the wind with maybe a heavier bullet, but trying to get more velocity out of the 6.5, which is kind of the opposite of what I went with, because I went with the heavier bullet so I could reach out farther and have less wind messing with my ballistics, basically.
Yeah, so there's a couple of good questions on here. And a lot of you guys are going to say, well, why do you guys shoot those 147s anyway? Almost everybody shoots 140s. And I've stated this before. I like heavier bullets in general. And the 147s, if I want to shoot out to a mile with my hand loads, I'm going to be better prepared to shoot that mile target with that 147 than the 140. Can you do it with the 140? Absolutely, you can. But if it's windy at all, you're going to have a much harder time. It's only 7 grains. But with the loads that I've got, I just prefer the heavier bullets. If you haven't seen that already, what am I doing on the 6.5? I'm going with heavier bullets. What am I doing on the 6mm? I'm going with the heavier bullets. But at some point, you got to see that you can get that velocity that you're looking for to help it do what you're asking it to do. I don't push light bullets really, really fast and just try to eat up my barrels. I try to go heavier bullets, see if I can get fast. And this burger looked pretty promising, but you can kind of see the mode there on how I do all my stuff. It's just like with a 308. I don't shoot anything less than a 175, period. And 175 is as light as I go on a 308 because I'm always shooting distance and I want that capability.
I hear you.
There is a question you need to ask, but I'm going to answer it as well. Tobacco Rose says, Rick, if he's in a Walmart parking lot and the guy 21 feet away from me points a gun at me, can I shoot him?
Hell yeah.
Wait a minute. Be careful how you answer that. Okay, so first of all, you need to be able to articulate what he did to point that gun at you. Did he point the gun at you thinking that you were trying to rob him and he saw your pistol because you were open carrying or whatever? Okay, I'm not telling you that you can just drop people because somebody points the gun in your general direction. Was he pointing it at you? Was there something that makes you think that you were the recipient of his action for whatever reason? But if we go through all of that crap and we say the guy is being said this, the guy said F you, and you cut him off in traffic and he pulls a pistol up, at that point, if a reasonable person would believe that he means to kill you or shoot you with his pistol, then, and you are in fear for your life, then you absolutely could. And it would not have to be a gun. It could be any other type of weapon if you can articulate that, being a knife, being a baseball bat, whatever. That's where that whole 1 foot rule comes into play. Like I said, that 21 foot rule could be 20 feet or whatever. It's how you articulate how much ground could this guy cover, because chances are that 20 to 25 foot range are going to be able to draw and deliver a lethal shot before he could take off in a sprint and get you. More than likely not. That's why this whole 21 foot rule came into play in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'll quit talking for a minute.
And I would stay away from that Walmart because everything you've asked so far is from Walmart. So go to a different
one. Dude. Yeah. That place.
No, he's asking, he says, because if his daughter asks him the question. I'm trying to answer questions my daughter might ask me, Rick. That's why. So good questions. Randy says, turkey hunting tomorrow in the morning. 4:30 rolls around pretty early. Have a good night, my friend. Have a good night.
Yeah, William Nah, I mean, like I said, he says he's not going to debate that much if someone is pointing a weapon at me. I get what you're saying, but there are so many different ways to look at things. What if realistically, let's say I met this guy to sell him a rifle or a pistol, and we're in the Walmart parking lot, and it's dark, it's at night, and you're in your car talking to your buddies, and this guy points a rifle at you. Well, the thing is, he didn't know you were over there. He was actually just showing this guy this rifle because the guy was going to purchase it from him, and he just aimed it in your direction. Does that give you the right to drop him with one between the eyeballs because you thought he was getting ready to kill you? Maybe the guy genuinely didn't know that you were over there. Now, of course, I'm painting a pretty picture here, but this is all about that articulation. What did he do? And Brooks Harvey, he said the same thing. Articulation is the key. You can't just go dropping people. I thought this guy was getting ready to kill me. Well, what made you think that? Well, he pointed a rifle at me. Well, let's look at the whole circumstance. He was sitting there with a couple guys that got out of the vehicles. They were looking at something. He's holding it. He's looking at it. Now he pointed a gun in your general direction. Doesn't mean he intends to kill you. He didn't even know you were there, and you just dropped him. Is it his fault? Yeah, it's his fault. Shouldn't have been aiming in your direction, but he didn't know you were sitting in the car. He thought it was unoccupied. Totality of the circumstances. 100% correct, Buddy D.
Buddy D gets a bonus point for the answer. Intent of everything in self-defense situations from what I've been taught. Yeah, and you got to articulate to the court, or the judge or whoever, and that's going to be the tough part. That's where you better have your shit down then.
Yeah. Brandon, if you're shooting an AR 308 20-inch and you're shooting 168 ELD match, I would stick with that for 600 yards and in. Anything beyond 600, I'd step it up to 170-plus weight bullet, like 175 grain or something like that. That 168 doesn't do that well beyond 600-ish. Can you hit targets at 1,000 with 168? You absolutely can. You'll hit them more frequently with a 175.
And that's kind of where the 69 223 compared to the 77 grain. What would you say the end of the 69 that Defender ammo? Where would you stop shooting with that one and go to the 77 Black Hills? Like what's the line there on distance?
Yeah, sorry, Tosh. You're absolutely right. I completely skipped the whole twist rate thing. Yeah, you gotta know what your barrel is capable of shooting as well. So this is going to lead into what Rick is saying. So Rick had asked me, at what point am I going to stop shooting 69 grain Defender to go to my Black Hill 77 grain? Well, I don't want to be a hypocrite, but when I won that Nordic Championships, that long range championship, all I had was 69 grainers, and that was not the right tool for the job because we were engaging out to 800 plus yards. For me, I'm going to say 500 is about the limit on where I want to push that. Anything beyond 500, I'm going to be going to 77.
Tomas asked about 3-foot barrels that you just screw in. What do you think about the 3-foot barrel that you just screw on already? Head space on a custom action.
Well, Thomas, that's exactly what I'm doing with the AI. That wasn't an AI barrel. That was a proof barrel, and proof is really, really, I'm a strong supporter of proof research. They do some great stuff. And matter of fact, they're even doing pre-fit barrels for the Tikka now, Rick, right? Isn't that what you just told me?
That's what I saw on proof. It had pre-fit barrels for the Tikka TAC 3.
Yep. So my proof for the AI doesn't actually offer a factory 6mm Creedmoor offering. They offer one in 243. Called up the guys at Proof and said, I want a pre-fit 6mm Creedmoor for the AI. And guess what? It's perfect. I haven't seen anything negative about it. So yeah, these pre-fits on a custom action, I'm sure they've got it down to an art science now.
Yep.
+5 308 match ammunition, federal gold medal match, like 175 grain, or look at like some Hornady match. Like I said, depends on how far you plan on engaging and everything. Yeah, and so a lot of people are
are asking about, talking to your lawyer or talking to the sheriff's office, this, that, and the other. And I get it, but they're only going to be able to. It depends on the situation. If you're involved in a shooting, then absolutely. But you can what ifs it to death. You just need to know the laws in the area that you live in. This is something that I also teach for agencies and everything else, but this pertains to North Carolina law only, okay? And that is completely different because some places have castle doctrine, some places don't. No, I'm not an attorney, but we're not talking about an actual shooting situation. We're talking about a what if, these hypothetical scenarios. So, yeah, it's a good idea to talk to them, but are you just wasting their time? What are you going to do? Have a list of questions? Well, what if this guy comes up to me while I'm fixing a flat tire and I want to shoot him? There's the problem. What are you going to ask your sheriff? Hey, can I shoot this guy if I'm in a Walmart parking lot and he points a gun at me? Well, of course you can if you feel like your life was threatened, but you've got to use good common sense too.
Yeah, and that could be a red flag asking your sheriff, what does it take to shoot somebody too? So if this happens, can I shoot him? Okay, well, wait. What about this? If this happens, can I shoot him? Because that doesn't look good. I would say find a person that teaches your local concealed weapons permit. They're going to run you through your state laws that apply to you, what your options are, what your, and also something good that I have is I carry USCCA, and it's basically coverage for if I was to unfortunately get in some type of having to protect myself and use deadly force, and it kind of helps you out, keeps you from losing your house and all sorts of stuff.
Well, hey, Armament and Axes, I think he just bought me a Diet Coke and you a tea. So you owe me one, Rick.
Well, after YouTube does its thing, we can you can have a Diet Coke because they pretty much shit can that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Armament. I really do.
Chris, again, I appreciate it. Knucklehead. Thank you guys for your time. Got to get up for 5 hours. Otter?
See you, Otter.
I always love seeing you on here, my friend. Let's see.
Okay, so I'm going to get controversial here, and I'm going to I will piss some people off with this, and that's okay. We need to talk about this. Okay, so has anybody seen the Mr. Guns and Gear video about? And I've met the guy. The guy's super nice. I'm not calling him out or anything. I don't want this to be referenced that way, but I saw a video that he posted up that everybody's starting to post now on Facebook about Texas, where the guys, that sheriff's office comes in with a MRAP, and there are a bunch of overweight officers. Have you seen that, Rick?
I saw a little bit about that on, I think, Facebook or something. Actually, Iraq veteran 8888 did something on it. I don't know what it was for, though. There's a bunch of people protesting, right? I can't remember.
Well, herein lies the question. Okay, so the video that was posted by Guns and Gear doesn't preface anything. It doesn't say anything about the call or anything else. It actually starts off by talking, he always does this intro with the Second Amendment. I'm definitely pro Second Amendment. But all it shows is a bunch of, off to the left, you see this MRAP coming through. And they're telling people to keep their hands out of their pockets, blah, 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 whatever. And you see all these overweight deputies, holding or brandishing ARs. And I think that the title of the video, like I said, I don't have a computer with me right now, something like protesters, something. But it almost seems like it's there to create disruption. The whole reason of that video. A video only tells one side of the story. You need to know what led up to those events, which I don't know. I wasn't there, but I did a little bit of reading on it. You don't know what's true, what's not. What I read was that a call came out that apparently in Texas, you're not allowed to open carry a firearm if you are in a bar, like a premises that you can consume alcohol. And I think in the state of Texas, and you guys can answer this if anybody lives in Texas, you also can't do that in the parking lot area of said location.
Apparently, a call came in that someone had a firearm, refused to leave, was drinking on the premises, and could possibly have automatic weapons. Okay. Fully automatic weapons, whatever the case is. That's all I got from the chat. So they called in SWAT, and these guys were basically going in to, I guess, clear the area, find out what was going on, whatever. If you go into the comment sections, immediately you're going to see how many people are talking about, if they had done that, I'd have shot them right in the head. They deserve to be hung. They deserve to be this, that, and the other. Now, I am all about Second Amendment. Okay, I'm all about our rights and everything else. So let's look at the officer side of it. Let's talk about what their oath is, because they swear to uphold the Constitution. They get called to this disturbance or whatever the case is based on information that they have. Now, whether I agree with the MRAPs and all that other stuff, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother article subject to talk about there. I want to know what y'all's feelings are on it. I've got to go through the comments here because I'm starting to see a lot of overstepping by law enforcement, but at the same time, what are they supposed to do? Let's talk about this. And DW, I agree. Government is violating our rights, no doubt about it. Now shut up. Rick, your turn.
I would say that we as a human have unalienable rights. We have rights that nobody can take away from us. Now, I will say, when an officer gets called, it's his job to go investigate, to make sure that what the call was said, if it was illegal, is to be looked at. And if it's not illegal, basically call the RP, or if the RP's there, tell them, hey, they're doing whatever's lawful. Or maybe they're not doing whatever's lawful. But if, like, with all this virus shit going on, and you got these governors that think they're kings of their little area, right? They cannot rule us. We have our own rights that we're given by God, basically. And they don't have the ability nor the law to take those away from us. Now, if I've done something wrong and now I've gone against the law and got in trouble for it, and I have lost a right, that's completely different per se, according to the laws of the land, right? But for them to say you can't be somewhere, you can't do this, you can't do that, like, I disagree with a lot of that stuff. Now, if somebody said, I'm going to give you a ticket because of this, I would probably go, well, you're a dick, and I would probably move, I'd probably kind of be an ass, but I would probably move on and go find fun somewhere else. So I don't know what this whole thing was with the MRAP police officers and showing up and all that shit, but I don't agree with police officers taking away your constitutional rights. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you are a free man in a free land, and you should be able to do, as long as you are not hindering, hurting, or impacting other people with your freedoms, you should be fine. But they're stepping over the line. And trust me, I got a lot of love for police officers because I work with them a lot. I've met a lot of great police officers. I met a couple dicks as well. But for the most part, a good majority of them are Second Amendment loving people that are sworn, and they take the oath that they swore. And even if their boss tells them, whoa, Otter, thank you, sir. I don't know what that is, but that's awesome. It's up to them to, tell their boss, hey, I am not going to infringe upon these people's rights because I swore an oath. They need to have the balls to answer to their superiors and tell them, go pack sand. That's not what I signed up to do. I signed up and I swore this oath, and I will respond not because you told me to do it, but maybe because I came here to do a job I swore to do, and if you're going to change the rules on me, then that's not what I'm here for. So there's my answer.
Okay, so yeah, I'm really getting into a can of worms tonight that I've never opened up before. So y'all just have to bear with me on this. Okay, so you said something a moment ago, because I'm a religious person, but you said God-given rights, and I hear a lot of 2A people say God-given rights. The religion that I believe in, God didn't give us those rights. Man gave us those rights, correct? Where does, because everybody uses that, my God-given rights. Where does God give you the right to carry a firearm? I'm just asking. I'm being devil's advocate here.
Where does he give you the right? I would say not in the scripture.
No.
Would tell you
God.
that.
Where does God-given rights?
Well, and I had said unalienable too, as well.
Okay, now, like I said, I'm just paying, dang, $50, 7,500 ISK. Wow.
What? Damn.
Holy crap.
Oh, damn, Sam.
Donuts and Diet Coke.
Otter. Never requested, always appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so like I said, I'm not trying to get everybody all riled up. And I understand the whole Constitution. Trust me, I understand all of that. The Constitution was written by who? Men or God? Now, we were based on a God-fearing society back then, and we've forgotten that as a society, it seems. But let's take religion out of it. Let's forget God-given rights, and let's just say man-given rights, okay? Now, let's talk about laws of the land, okay? Because I feel everybody should be able to carry. You want to carry an AR all day long? Hey, that's fine, no problem. I think that's our right, right? It was a right given to us by the founders. We have it in the Constitution to protect ourselves. No problems. Where do we draw the line? Because there are laws in almost all states when it comes to like domestic violence, things like that. You know, if you get a restraining order on your whatever, let's say a husband-wife situation, and your guns are taken away from you. Okay, that's a bad thing. But then you say, well, he's a convicted felon. Convicted felons are not allowed to have firearms. So that's something that can be taken away. Do you guys feel that we should have laws like that to where if you're a convicted felon, you should not be eligible to have a firearm? Because if you agree to that, then at some point you're saying, well, there's a certain line, there's a certain level. And so how do you blame a police officer for enforcing a law? Let's say it's a domestic violence restraining order or something to where his rights are then stripped away from him. People are in agreement that he should not, because of his actions, he should not be eligible for a firearm. Because that's what they're saying with a convicted felon, right? Shouldn't be able to have it because you did a felony, not a misdemeanor, and now you've lost your right to that. And this officer is now, he's caught in the middle. You got to see where he's coming from. He is doing his job. He's upholding the Constitution, but these are laws written by men that, hey, you're a convicted felon, you can't have a firearm. How do we all feel about that?
Hold on. These are good answers. So William says,
I know.
I got another one, though. I got this one, too. So God-given goes back to the phrase of the Declaration of Independence that says all men are empowered by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
Yeah, but that was interpreted by men. Correct? That was interpreted by men.
Well,
God didn't come down and put in commandments, thou shalt have a firearm on you at all times. Look, like I said, I am just, this is something that I never talk about, and this is why I avoid it.
Well, no, what you're saying is a great question, because once you have gone past, say, you got in a fight with your wife, and all of a sudden you got this or that, and then now you've lost your rights to own a firearm, right? But don't you still have the right to protect yourself and your family? And those rules or laws basically had taken that right away from you. But when you say unalienable right, then you're saying that the laws shouldn't be able to do that, which is what it's stating. But we still have laws that are doing it. Do I have the answer of is it okay or not okay? Do I want a felon that's running, that's basically tried to harm somebody, got arrested and put in jail for a while, And are they going to probably come out and do that again? Now, a lot of people say that God is in jail because a lot of people find the Lord in jail, right? And they get out and they're a completely changed person per se. Does that happen a lot? I don't know. But do I want somebody running around that has a felony that's, tried to kill somebody for, not a good reason? No. But on the other end, it does suck if you are that person that caught up in some circumstance that, you were 20 years old or whatever, and you're a completely different person at 50 years old. Should you get your Second Amendment rights back? Maybe so. So I don't have an answer to that. But that's why I stay on the straight and narrow, because I don't ever want my rights to be taken away, which rights shouldn't be able to even be taken away. So that's where we're at right now. This is a bouncing ball. Back
Yes,
at you,
it
Ray.
is. That's why I stay away from this stuff.
Yeah.
I know how I feel about it.
Yeah. Red
But-
flag laws legal.
I don't really agree or care for. No, I don't agree with red flag laws. If we're talking about the red flag, now this is a question by Jerry Parker that my neighbor can call in and say, "Well, he posted on Facebook about this. And I don't feel good about it." And the red flag, they come in and basically take your stuff out of your house. I don't agree with that at all. If that's what you're talking about, I guess that's what the question is. If they think you're dangerous, yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I know it's tough because I've had people ask me this question before, and it's tough because you're like, what you want to say, but then you look. I always try to look at things from both avenues, and I'm like, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, that person should always have the right to protect themselves. But then I'm like, well, what about the lady that almost got killed by this guy? Is he going to come back and do it again? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, every bad guy is going to get a gun, whether they are not allowed to have one anyways. That's why they're called basically bad guys. So I don't know. All I know is if I lost my Second Amendment right, I would be one sad son of a gun.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Yeah, I'm never giving my guns up. I'm plain and simple. I've been a law-abiding citizen. I haven't had any issues or run-ins with the law or anything else. These are just good questions to ask, And then, +5, he commented here. His buddy in Kansas is buying a gun. An hour later, he comes home and takes a picture while he's got to wait 10 days, and he served this country honorably.
Yeah.
I get it. It's like, we visit. You're from California.
Oh,
In
yeah.
California.
It's horrible.
And we're now we're no longer equal, because when you're in California, you've got to wait 10 days, whereas I can go to the gun store and go buy one right now because I'm in North Carolina. There's a problem there,
There's a huge problem, and that used to piss me off. So if I have one or more guns already, pistols, right? And I have to wait 10 days because they're waiting for me to cool down, right? Don't you think I would have killed somebody with the guns I already had if I was really going to injure somebody? Like, that makes no sense. So the first one I think is stupid anyways. But if they're going to do that stupid cool down thing, if you already have one firearm, I don't care if it's a rifle, pistol, whatever. If you already have one, there should be no time frame, because there is no cool down period. I just grabbed it.
You've already got one.
I-
You already have one.
It's like stupid. It's the dumbest. California's got the dumbest shit laws anyways. But so this one, why do you think they came up with the red flag laws so they can abuse them? Here's my answer to this. They came up with the red flag. Well, here's a couple good answers. So remember the kid that the cops had basically been in contact with like 30 times or some shit in Florida? People had called on him all the time, said this guy's a whack job. Okay. That's where I see people needing to do better work. Okay. Now, on the other hand, I think the red flag law is also a way for said officer, not even officer, it's not really the officer, said department or something, or said whatever, right? That says, I want to go search your house, and has a reason to say, oh yeah, Sally down the street, she said you're kind of a kooky dude and you shoot a lot of firearms. So I'm going to search your house. And now remember, you are always innocent until proven guilty. But with the red flag law, it's completely opposite. You are guilty until proven innocent months later, and you can't even get your shit to shoot until they do whatever they do. So I really hate that law. That law is a way for them to get in your door, grab your gun, unconstitutionally, in my opinion. So there's that. We are getting into some shit tonight, huh, Ray?
Yeah, and so DW says he seems to recall a run-in with the railroad police track. Yeah, that was the local law enforcement, and like I said, those guys were cool with me, no issues with anything, but I wasn't breaking the law. You know, we were shooting on private land in a safe direction, and their job was just to come out and see to make sure it was a safe direction. Once they saw we had a backstop, we were good. Boom, they were gone on their way, and it was good. I mean, we are getting our rights taken away every day, and I see it all the time. But I also see this anti-police sentiment as well. And for a lot of these guys, now they need to uphold our Constitution for sure, but, you know, like the MRAP. Okay, so I did a bunch of training before with some law enforcement agencies out at Blackwater. And at the time, I was like, this is the stupidest freaking thing. Why does a freaking police department need an MRAP or a Bearcat or a, you know, Gurkha or anything like that? Why? This is stupid. But at the same time, once I started seeing how they were implemented for SWAT callouts, it did increase officer safety. Now, there was one agency in particular that I trained with that they had their Bearcat. They didn't buy it with a grant. They actually got it from drug seizure money. And I was like, this is so stupid. Small town. They got a freaking Linco Bearcat, cost $500,000. Within a year's time, that vehicle was shot, not a little bit, shot multiple times on callouts, SWAT callouts. One was a hostage situation. Guy unloaded on it with an AK, and the officers were safe inside. Basically, it turned out okay for everyone. I think the guy ended up getting shot, but that did keep the officer safe. Now, prior to this Bearcat, they were doing a lot of stuff out of like Freightliner Sprinters, which were not up armored or anything else. There was another situation where a guy unloaded on it with a shotgun, shot the headlights out, shot their IR out, and everything else. So that's protecting these guys while they're doing their job. And I have to kind of agree on that point. Otherwise, you know, then you could just say, well, they don't even need body armor then. Well, anything they can do to protect them, because citizens, civilians just like us, they're not military, they are civilians. All law enforcement are civilians. But I see where there's that use, but I also see how it can be misconstrued because so many agencies have this, I hate to say it, but backwoods mentality where like they like to show off these things. You know, they'll drive them to parades and drive them to, you know, whatever, the local first responder day, and you'll have your fire trucks out there and everything else. I don't think it's a tool that should be used in that aspect. I think it should be hidden and out of sight, not paraded around, and it does provide a service. Now, people see that as, oh, well, you're militarizing the police. Well, you're helping make them safer for these type of situations that go bad. You know, at least we weren't attending, you know, 2 officers' funerals because they showed up in their regular police cars and got shot down when they pulled up on this call. That's the way I see it. And I'm trying to, let me catch up.
I agree with police officers having the correct, basically personal protective devices, right? Whether it's an MRAP vehicle, but it's their actions that are what either makes it good or bad. If they're going to show up for something that they don't need to show up to or overreact to something, then it's bad. But if they're going to show up because they got a hostage situation and they need something to hide behind to stay protected, I completely agree with that. Like, you should have the best, your fire department, your police department, your military should have the best gear possible to do their best job possible, right? That's what we paid them for. We got our men and women out there fighting for our freedoms, right? We want them to have the best gear that money can pay for, right? We want the same thing for the fire and police guys, because at the end of the day, they're your cousin, your sister's wife, you know, whatever the case is, and you want them to get home safe. So that's what I agree with. but it depends on their action over what their gear is. Just gear. I could have all that crazy stuff, and I'm not some SWAT ninja, so I don't know how to do it. But it's gear. As long as their actions are good, I think it's good.
Yeah, so Idaho Rogers, USMC, he says, he calls bullshit. He says, police volunteered for the job. Yeah, it's just a job. Just like, and, no offense, +5, just like the military. It is a job, sign up for another risk going into it. I'm not saying it's a protected class. I'm just saying the tools, just like what Rick said, because you're saying they are not a protected class. I'm no way saying that they're a protected class. I don't feel that law enforcement should be able to get machine guns at willy-nilly just because they feel like they need it. They don't need it. We should be able to access the same things that they have, plain and simple. But I don't think they should have rights to have NFA items. They don't need silencers without going through the proper paperwork. They don't need machine guns. They don't need any of that. They don't have to go through the proper paperwork. What we've got to do is Form 5 it, and they've got it, and the whole agency gets it. And now you got all these guys running around, the sheriff's running around with machine guns just because, hey, I can do it. But you can't say that damn well what the risk was when they took the job. Yeah, you do know, they do know the risk when they take the job. However, do they not need to be protected by bulletproof vests, by upper armored vehicles when they're doing a SWAT call out or anything like that? I don't know, just food for thought.
Well, and basically everything that we own, right, as public people, right, they have. So those same people, though, are the guys that are trying to protect your wife that's being held hostage by some crazy dude with a gun or some crazy dude. Do you want them to get halfway through the door and then get shot and then not protect your wife or your kid or whatever? Like, don't you want them to have the best shit possible? Now, who brought it up? Someone had said the local sheriff, Rotter did. Sheriff department showed up in an armored truck to patrol area hit by tornadoes. There's a lot of reasons for that action. I would say maybe for personnel to get them, you can bring a bunch of people. You can do a lot of things with it. Maybe some of their cars are down. Who knows what the reason was? Maybe every officer was on duty because of the tornado and they needed the vehicle. So there's a lot of things. And the only reason why I say that is we always get people that'll bust you up like, oh, the fire engine's at the grocery store with a whole crew of 4 people, right? Well, okay. The other answer is, okay, I send one guy to go to the fire to pick up groceries, right? Now we're responding to your house, and you're stuck on the 2nd or 3rd floor of a house. Now I only have 3 people, and I don't have 4, right? I can respond from that same grocery store faster with 4 people and get to your house faster than if I didn't. So like people complain about shit, but they don't understand how the whole system works either. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to give them credit if you don't understand. And I'm not saying you guys don't understand something, but I used to hate when people would be like, I can't believe you're at the grocery store. What, you don't eat? Like, you don't eat? We're stuck at a firehouse for 2 days in a row. I mean, we don't know who's coming on, so we all get together, we pitch in money, and we make groceries. Who gives a shit? It's 20 minutes. Who cares?
Idaho, I need to address this because he said, okay, then why do we need police to protect us from crime? Why can't I protect myself? You are 100% entitled to protect yourself. However, if we didn't have police, guys, the lawlessness that would ensue would be unfreaking believable. I mean, and I don't think we're too far away from that present situation. I mean, you take away.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I think it's awesome because you know what? For people, right? So let's just call everybody normal. It's like when you guys were in school and you had a substitute teacher, right? When you had a substitute teacher, did you not screw off more, do shit that you would not do if the normal teacher was there? Yes, you would, because I know you did it. Because I did it, right? It's the same thing. If we have no law, we're going to have people that are bad be more bad. And then they're going to impact us more, which means we're going to have to do things that we didn't want to have to do in order to protect ourselves more. It would be crazy. I'm just saying. And it would depend on the state you're in and how big of the city you are in. Because like Baltimore, right? Baltimore is pretty much freaking without rules when you talk about all the killings and all that shit that happens, right? So could you imagine everywhere else being Baltimore? That's what would happen, I think. Sounds like a talk show, the Rick and Ray talk show. This is the Rick and Ray talk show.
Great to see ex-military and ex-police think that. Let's see what else. Rick and Ray. Oh no, where was it at? It was right here. It says that William Nas says only for a while. Sooner or later, society will get rid of the trash. I think I'm going to disagree with that statement. I think it would really turn into society. You know how? Hold on, see, my dog's getting all upset now.
Get him, Bailey.
I think society would turn into, okay, everybody wants, we'll talk about the Wild Wild West, right? What you'd end up having is gangs of people that would start taking things from other people that weren't as well armed or as equipped. I think you would see, even with law enforcement, we still have gangs, right? We have them today, drug gangs or whatever, which they're going to have their guns, whether they're legal to have them or not, doesn't matter. I didn't want to talk about that. That has nothing to do with the thing. What I want to talk about is, okay, so you would have to get a sheriff, and the sheriff would then have to get his posse, which are basically people that he deputized. That is, on a bigger sense, what we're doing today, right? That's it. You've got a sheriff and he's got his deputies, or if you have a local police department with his officers, but I don't think it would get rid of the trash. I really don't think it would. I think it would only get worse. And then those that had more power, now they're going to overrule other people. It's going to just constantly repeat itself.
Rule of law is The Walking Dead. If you guys just remember, I don't remember what episodes it was, but at the end, right, you had these not big, but you had these groups, these mini towns, right, that basically would go rob the next weakest town to get more crap. It's
correct.
As Ray's saying is, if you don't have the local sheriff in town with his deputies running around trying to keep law, you're going to have your neighbor come steal your shit. Say some big dude, you're sitting here and you're not that pro-gun person. I would say that the anti-gunners would definitely lose out on this battle for sure, because they have no way of protecting themselves. Good example. So at the fire station, there's one captain, right? And his wife was like, we need a gun. And he was very anti-gun. Not so much that he was like, he was basically, he wasn't against guns, but he didn't want one in the house, right? He was he's a great dude, but I was just like, I'm all okay, Roger. I go, what happens when you're at work right now? Because we were at work when we were talking about this. I said, all of a sudden this 220-pound dude is breaking into this front door of yours. How's your wife going to protect herself? Because he has a bat, or I think a bat or a golf club. You expect your wife to protect your two kids in the house with this silly bat. I go, on the other hand, when you're there, maybe a bat's okay. But you expect your little 120-pound wife to protect your two kids and herself with the bat. I go, she wants a gun to be able to equalize against the 220-pound dude, because the gun is a great equalizer. And he kind of was very quiet. He thought about it. I don't know if they ever ended up getting a gun. Probably not. But there's no way for people to. It makes no sense. So back to the world of chaos, right? if you have a wife at home or a daughter at home, don't you want to be able to protect yourself? So without rule of law, you guys are chaos would happen throughout the street all day long. Chaos happens all day long. Think of all the jackass Antifa guys running around doing all their shit they were doing back in the day when it was really big. They're burning cars and burning buildings and all that other shit. That's with law. Could you imagine what chaos would happen if we didn't have law? Anyway.
Oh yeah, and then let's see. Let me get back to it. It's up here. I think Idaho Roger said, bring back public hangings and things like that. It didn't stop it back in the day, did it? Back in the cowboy days and everything else, they had that. It doesn't stop crime when they do it in overseas in the Middle East when they behead people or cut hands off. That doesn't stop the crime. It's still there. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be beheading people and cutting off hands for stealing and everything else. I don't know. It raises some good questions. It really does. I do believe that the justice system has failed us as a society. If you do put somebody away, it is clear cut and simple. I'll go ahead and tell you, I do believe in capital punishment. I believe if this guy goes in and murders this family or this person, and you can definitely tell it was intent, he meant to do it. You know what? He doesn't need to be here. We don't need to keep feeding that and sustaining that. I do feel like, and I'm maybe overstepping here. I do feel like we are only okay. So these government subsidies. Okay, everybody's been getting these stimulus checks now. I haven't seen one. I don't think Rick's seen one. You got to think about the people that rely on this check every single month. I mean, some people, many people not. If you were to stop that for 1 month, I don't believe this world would look like it looks today. I think you would immediately have riots. You would have all these stores getting broken into. It would be lawlessness. I mean, to the point where law enforcement is not going to be able to handle it. All you got to do is cut off subsidies for a month. You stop food stamps, you stop support, especially in these larger metropolitan areas. They will rape, pillage, and plunder is what's going to happen. And, unfortunately, we're that close to it. That's all it's going to take is just that close to breaking that edge. And there's going to be a big problem. I think law enforcement is starting to see that. I think the government sees that. That's why they were handing out these MRAPs and everything else. Because you got to remember, they're only in power while we allow them to be in power. Okay, I've made this analogy before. So in this small town area that I live in, there's only a couple hundred cops. And you look at a couple 100,000 people. If 100,000 people, you take 10% of that, and they're armed, but law enforcement not going to be able to handle it. And you say, well, the military. Okay, are they really going to be able to, maybe +5 can answer this, or some of these other guys now that might actually be in right now. While we have a large military, you can't cover the whole United States. You can do a lot, but you can't cover every single town in the whole United States. It's too many people to deal with. I don't know. It's for thought. We can never match the military. Military surpass what civilians can ever do to be able to uprise up against them, in my opinion. I mean, these guys that know the capabilities of some of this equipment and everything else, well, I'm going to take my gun, I'm going to go to arms. Come on. All it's going to take is a Black Hawk from you can't even hear it and you're gone before you even know it. I'll hide in the woods. Come on. With the thermals and equipment that's available today to the military, yeah, we could put up a little fight for a little bit, but come on, there's no match for the military and what they have. Plain and simple.
No, but the good thing is
I think there's enough people in the military and in law enforcement that would do the right thing. And that would be the only saving grace, I feel.
Yeah, without them being able to basically, so we'll call them the good military, right? The people that are up for the pro second. I think there's enough of them that it would make it, let's just call it half, right? So now there's half the military. Now those good guys that know how to fly planes and all that stuff and sneak on the base and know all the codes and all that stuff to get to stuff would definitely help. I think being able to think of Al-Qaeda, right? They're basically a bunch of civilians running around with some type of weaponry, half-ass crap like the rest of us. And they did a pretty good job.
Well, rules of engagement come in there. I think that, you know, the military's hands are tied there. I mean, they could go out and obliterate entire, I mean, forget cities, states. I mean, that would be no issue for them to do that. But it's the rules of engagement of being able to just go in and obliterate and not even worry about those that are right or those that are wrong or good or the bad. If you just say, all right, well, we can take this loss, we're going to lose, 2,000 good people, but we're gonna knock out 100 bad guys. What do they call that?
It's called shit.
You got it. Come on.
What is it called? It's called I can't think of it. Collateral damage.
There you go, buddy.
Collateral damage. Let's see. We got good stuff in here. Let's see. Last thing I need is 6 people moving back into the little house because COVID took their jobs away.
And Nick Knox says cameras here in Korea keep people in check. I hate that too, man. You can't go anywhere. What do they say? You can't go anywhere in a day without being filmed at least, 20 times or something?
Yeah, and I don't know what the number is, but if you're in a larger city, that's easy. That's in one building.
Yeah.
I'm retired, but in my opinion, if all armed citizens rose up together, had leadership to control their groups, America could be back to the Civil War days, in my honest opinion. Well, and hopefully it doesn't happen, right? We do need rule of law. That's what makes the system run. See how I said the system run? But that's what we're used to. That's right. We've been programmed. We have been programmed. So
Yeah, C+5 says he thinks if command sent orders to turn on civilians, the subordinates wouldn't really want to do it. But some would. Just like in law enforcement, some would. And that's the bad part of it, is we don't know how many that would be. And we can do these what ifs all day, but look at where we're at right now. I mean, we're in unprecedented times with this whole COVID thing and the way they tried to shut everybody inside. It really makes you start to see what they're trying to do. I mean, they've been trying to take the guns away. Man, I can't even believe I'm talking about this crap. I don't even, the thing is, I don't go public with this. I mean, Rick knows how I feel about it. I talk about it amongst friends, but I don't know. For me, sometimes, airing this stuff out on a chat or on a video, there's enough people doing it, and I don't think I'm going to make anybody realize it. That, did you hear what X-Ring said? It's not that it's an epiphany or anything like that. It's just it can stir up emotions that I think some people might do it for the wrong reasons. They do it just to boost their channels and everything else. And of course, you guys know us well enough. That's not what this is about. But I do feel strongly about all of this stuff. It's just, and it's good to talk about it. It's just caught me in the right mood, I guess.
Yeah, I will tell you, a great channel, Tiberiusaurus Rex, has lately, he is really, really, really talking about our rights and really getting into this whole. Now he lives up in like North Dakota or somewhere, right? He lives in a small town, and basically the next town's miles and miles away, but he is really getting fed up with all the stuff going on right now, and all the basically them taking away our rights, this and that. I've always watched this channel for years and years now, but he has really turned and really pushing it, just basically talking about it to people. See, Range even says that Rex is deep lately. Yeah, he is. Every one of his videos, he's basically driving around in the car and he's telling people about their freedoms and, and all this and that, and don't fall for this. And it's pretty crazy. I think people are fed up with this shit, being stuck at home.
Yeah.
And basically losing their rights, just being able to drive the hell to the gas station and the grocery store without having to wear a mask and this and that and all this crap. Because this, to me, is this is the 9/11 to our kids right now. Now, they weren't old enough to see that and what took place and the freedoms that we did lose from that, right? With like transportation, TSA, and all that other crap, that basically some of our rights got more infringed upon. And we were kind of glad to help. Like, hey, if you got to scan me so the asshole doesn't bring shoe bombs into the airplane that I'm going to be flying in, okay, cool, I'm good with it. And at some point we got to say, wait a minute, we've been bamboozled. But this is the next thing. So they say everybody can go about their normal business, but now you have to wear a mask. Now you have to stay 6 feet apart from everybody, and all this shit that you're supposed to do. And now I don't. Me and Ray are like wrestling around, and they come arrest us because we didn't stay 6 feet apart thing. This could be the next thing. Like, we don't really know the answer yet. What kind of freedoms are we going to lose from the COVID? Whether it's 6 feet distance, whether it's you have to wear a mask if you're anywhere beside your house, so I don't know. It's going to be the next thing, but we are at 2 hours and 15.
Yeah, real quick, before you close it down, DW said, and this is food for thought when we close, it says the military is not going to assault their own kin. I disagree with you. History repeats itself. Military, think about Germany. Did they not kill their own? They're just following military orders. Did we not do that here in this country 100 plus years ago with the Civil War, where you got the North fighting the South, their own kin? So as a generalized statement, I don't agree with that. I think some will, because it's happened before, it'll happen again. They say the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior.
Well, and I've heard, never seen, that they actually teach in certain things how to basically run around, almost like martial law stuff on our soil. There's a whole, like, I don't know how long the class is, whether it's a week long or what, but it's a class on being able to go to your normal countryside and basically take away the rights that the Constitution gives us right now, and call it martial law and some other stuff. And they try to program these people into being able to fire upon their own, for the most part. And I don't mean their own military. I mean their own as in American people. So I don't know how true that is. I have heard that, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it was an interesting chat for sure. I appreciate everybody that joined in, and man, yeah, it's a good chat. I was only going to be on here about 30 minutes, and here it is, almost 1 o'clock.
Oh, damn. It is. Okay, everybody. I appreciate everyone showing up very, very much so.
Likewise, I appreciate it.
Blue Girl 65, I just saw it. Yeah. I just saw y'all in here. Hopefully you've been watching. We went real deep tonight, guys. Normally we don't do this. John Jeffries, Robert 204. Yeah, you've always been quiet about this stuff. Alaska 1, Andy, appreciate it. Tobacco Row +5, Eric, William. Who else is out there? When I say your name, guys, hit the button and get out of here. That way I make sure I get everybody. How's that?
Oh, geez.
You won't miss anything, I promise. Might as well.
Pleasure.
Have a good one. It's a pleasure. John Jeffries, Levi, Tobacco Row, TB, might as well be Lee, Bob, Jerry Parker, William Solers, +5, Buddy D, Muscat Merv.
Idaho Rogers, USMC. You didn't ruffle any feathers. Like I said, it was just discussion. I'm not one of those that takes discussion to heart, but it's food for thought. No, we're all good.
All right, so you guys have a great night. The Redneck Prepper says, have a good one. Unicorn Farts and Skittles. You guys take care. Really appreciate it. It was a great topics. Hopefully we answered those so we don't have to answer them again. We'll see. Good night, everybody.
Bye.